Did you know that at the end of the Heian period and into the beginning of the Kamakura period, the Japanese word for lunar eclipse also means eating away at bit by bit, or erosion? Perhaps that's why the blood moon on this ground-type Ursaluna's head looks like it is eroding or eating away at its fur and body, like a festering wound that refuses to heal. Perhaps because it is old, or perhaps because it is the last of its species, and perhaps it is angry and sad about this. But first, I love bears. How can they be so dangerous when they have ears like these? Bears are definitely my favorite wild animal, other than maybe crocodiles.
And also Sasha, my vicious and oh so wild apex predator.
There are exceptions to my love of bears, though. Sloth bears? Kinda gross. Pandas? Well, they're cute, but they're so stupid. Sun bears? Cave bears? Let's just say I'm glad they're extinct. Moon bears, aka Asian black bears. More like stays in the back bears, back of my favorite animals list. That's not true, I love you. I just couldn't resist. Polar bears? I mean, they're okay, but they're no Pizzly, or Grizzly, or American black bear. I really like bears. But this! That's no bear. That's a blood moon Ursaluna. It's like if Ursaluna was Freddy Fazbear, then this new Ursaluna is like Freddy Fazbear's second Boogaloo version. Because it's all like corrupted and messed up. Also, hi, it's me. That intro was from the last video we did on Ursaluna, like last Tuesday or whenever that was. Time means nothing. And as you can see, I am extremely dedicated to my craft. Like a bear, I have repacked on dozens of pounds in preparation for hibernation. That's it. No depression here. Men can't have emotions. And neither can this new form of Ursaluna, besides rage and depression, that is. So what's its deal? Why is it like this now? And why are blood moons so spooky? In this video, I'll hopefully explain some of it. The bloody origins of the blood moon beast, this new form of Ursaluna. Honestly, if they really wanted to up the creep factor with Ursaluna, they could have just tacked on some more sun bear elements. I mean, both Ursaring and Ursaluna are already part sun, part moon bear, and so they could have easily just amped up the sun a bit, you know? But sun and moon bears are very closely related and are often confused for one another. I mean, they both have these partial rings on their chest and are found in Asia, so I don't blame people for the confusion. But if you're ever confused, simply ask yourself,
does he look like a
bear that is ugly? Then it's a sun bear. Okay, so in order to not completely just repeat myself fully from that previous video about the whole line, we'll just stick with Ursaluna here. I'll go ahead and assume that you already know why these Pokemon, and even bears in general, are so intrinsically linked with the night sky in stories and cultures from all around the world. And if you don't, that video is always there. Ursaluna itself is native to Hisui, the old name for Sinnoh, which is based on Hokkaido, whose old name was Ezo, and is home to the native Ainu people, whose beliefs and legends heavily influenced the story and new Pokemon designs in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Thus, Ursaluna is an Ezo brown bear, a Hokkaido native, and the Ainu great spirit of mountains, Kim Unkamui, is also the god of bears, hence this bear's mountain of dirt shape and ground typing. But it's not just any type of ground on it, it's peat, which is a type of ground that is made up of partially decayed vegetation and organic matter. It's unique to peatlands, bogs, swamps, marshes, mires, and such, which Japan doesn't have, except in Hokkaido, Ezo, Hisui, hence this new Hisuian evolution. But this new form of Ursaluna, it looks mean and messed up. Oh, probably for reasons. I mean, I would pretty understandably be upset if I was likely the last of my kind and I unexpectedly drifted into an unfamiliar land. See, according to the Pokedex, it crossed the sea and drifted ashore in a new land. Surviving in this place led it to take on a unique appearance and gain special powers. Not unheard of, the energy all around Hisui gave lots of Pokemon unique evolutions and different forms, even the starters. So, a Pokemon leaving that unique energy aura behind long term would likely start to feel some detachment or some degradation. Blood Moon Ursaluna perhaps became too tired or even careless, or maybe even slightly zombified in a way, to keep the peat mound from covering its back fur tufts, and they've become all matted down, and the peat is even getting into its face, even its eye. And it doesn't care. Its head is hunched over as it stands there, weighed down by the excess peat. It's too to get off. Its signature move is simply called Blood Moon, and its move description states that it unleashes the full brunt of its spirit from a full moon that shines as red as blood. So perhaps its spirit itself has become corrupted, detached, or it simply lost that connection to Hisui that once made it what it was. But why a blood moon? What is a blood moon? Well, in short, a blood moon is a total solar eclipse. When there's a full moon, but then the Earth's shadow perfectly lands over the moon as it aligns with the sun. It makes the moon appear red because the only light able to reach the moon is light that had already passed through our atmosphere, which partially filters out the color spectrum, leaving only red when it eventually bounces back to us from the moon. But before we knew about photons, my god, blood moons were terrifying! Like, obviously you'd look up at that and say, oh, crap. The gods have cursed us. It's no wonder that blood moons in mythology, mysticism, and fantasy media always cause evil or corrupt things. Red is blood. Blood bad. Unless you're a plant, then it's tasty. But speaking of mythology, considering how Japanese this Kitakami region is, how did the Japanese historically see blood moons? Well, bad and ominous, like everyone else, blood moons were thought to be the cause of significant emotional intensity and even transformation. Normally negatively. It could make people and animals just a little nuts and have violent outbursts. Quite like an angry bear, no? But also, here's a story. The Japanese god of the moon that I will mispronounce. Tsukuyomi was born when the creator deity Izanagi was washing himself of sins in a literal bathing manner. Just sins away. He washed his eyes a little bit too hard though, and from the left eye he popped out Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun, and from his right eye he popped out Tsukuyomi, the god of the moon. Now remember, blood moons only happen when the sun and moon perfectly align, and would you look at Ursaluna's eyes? The left one is the darkened one, as if wearing sunglasses to protect it from the brightness. Each eye in perfect balance, like the sun and the moon in an eclipse. But now let's consider that point I mentioned at the very start. This means eclipse in Japanese, but it also means slowly eaten away, or erode, in traditional Chinese. And if you don't know, Old Japanese is basically Chinese but different because of the way languages evolve. It's complicated, that's the simplest way I can make it. And I can see it. Both types of eclipses often look like the moon is being slowly eroded away. But it gets me thinking now, how did the old Chinese see blood moons? Well, the opposite, interestingly. Rather than being a sign of danger, in traditional Chinese folklore, it was thought that lunar eclipses foretold the fertility of incoming crop seasons, and a full-on blood moon indicated a particularly bountiful harvest. Because plants love it. So think back to regular Ursaluna now. First off, the bear it's based on doesn't only live in Hokkaido, it also lives throughout northern China. But also Ursaluna, it's great at digging. It can smell perfectly and manipulate peat at will. It can dig while running with the bulldoze attack. And peat is the most nutritious soil for most plants. So Ursaluna obviously would be amazing at crop cultivation, but then also consider that the Japanese story of the sun and moon's creation from that dude's eyeballs, that's also an adaptation of an even older Chinese legend, Pangu or Pengku? I know even less Chinese than I do Japanese. He's a primordial creation deity who is a large and shaggy bear man. Yes, and with the help of the four holy beasts, he grew and grew over 18,000 years, slowly separating the clear sky and the murky, foggy earth. And his body became the land, his bear fur became the forests, and his right eye became the moon, and his left eye became the sun, and yeah, the rest of him became other things too, that's not important here. But same deal. Same eyes, sun, moon, Bear Man? This belief crossed from China to Japan, where it altered its form, the same way this Ursaluna crossed from Hisui to Kitakami, where it altered its form. It's good. I like it. But I like bears, so it's not that surprising. Is there more to this Pokemon? Probably. Let me know down below. And in the meantime, I've got more of this DLC to play. So please watch this video next, even if it's just in the background, because Sinnoh deserves it, and it's the worst performing video we've had in years. Never stop using your noggin.